In a world dominated by sports podcasts, three friends team up to bring you another one. Driven by the incessant need to argue with one another, the Context Matters podcast will toe the line between what they believe and what they believe will piss off their friend. Listen and enjoy as the group chat you never wanted to read becomes the podcast you hardly want to listen to. The bits are long, the rage bait is real, and the context matters.
Welcome. Thanks for joining us on episode 4, the Quadrilateral. Get it? It is Wednesday, January 28th. And now we know who is playing for the grandest prize of the season. I'm Bill, and with me as always are David and JMO. How we feeling, boys?
Did you say grandest? All right, Grandpa, it's time to go to bed.
Dude, I'm feeling great. Patriots going to the Super Bowl. The only thing I'm not pumped about is the weather we're having. Every time I look outside, it just seems to be snowing. So,
says the guy who can clear his snow with a skid steer. Anyway, on today's slate, we will be discussing results from the conference championship games, recapping our picks, props, and parlays from last week, and for the first time, we will be taking calls from all of you. Then we will be talking hot topics from the great weekend of football we just watched, as well as any other items around the NFL, including the Pro Bowl. And then we end the show with a little segment called Anything Else, where we touched on, you guessed it, anything else. But first, a word from our presenting sponsor, Hyatt Trucks.
Are you tired of dealing with unreliable waste removal services, or worse, the weekly dump trip? Say hello to Hyatt Trucks Waste Removal, Southern New Hampshire's top choice for dependable disposal. Based in Milford, New Hampshire, they serve Hillsborough County and beyond, including Milford, Nashua, Bedford, Manchester, and Peterborough. They're a family-owned business with over 50 five-star Google reviews, are fully insured, and ready to handle any waste removal needs. They offer flexible roll-off dumpster rentals for any project, big or small, and are joining us just before your annual spring cleaning project. Hyatt offers comprehensive junk removal services, hauling away furniture, appliances, yard waste, and more. But let's talk about what can really make a difference in your week. Hyatt offers weekly curbside trash pickup to Milford, New Boston, Bedford, Jaffrey, Peterborough, New Ipswich, and surrounding towns beginning at just $40 a month, with provided barrels, options for recycling, and reliable pickups on time, every time. Ready to join the Hyatt Trucks family? Head to HIOTT-TRUX.com and sign up using code CONTEXT to let them know we sent you. Hyatt Trucks. You chuck it, we truck it, making waste removal simple and stress-free.
Thank you, JMO. Yeah, for anyone who hasn't had recycling and trash pickup weekly as a service, it's absolutely life-changing. So highly recommend it. But without further ado, let's get into the championship game recaps. Patriots at Broncos.
yeah, you're cute.
Yeah. Well, you'll get that on the big jobs. So Patriots at Broncos, it was a phenomenal high-scoring affair, just like we all thought it was going to be. The entire game was... All right, let's just talk about it. It was bad. It was not fun to watch. The snow didn't help. The coaching was fine for what was available. I don't know, man. Like, what do you want me to say about this? We're talking about one game away from the Super Bowl, and we have to watch that. I didn't like it. I didn't have fun. I don't have any takeaways that I care to share. Dave, why don't you take this one? I'm going to throw up.
So it kind of went exactly how, if you're a Patriots fan, you would think it would go. Like, we knew going in we weren't going to score a bunch of points. You really want to play with the lead.
Hang on. I got to stop you there. I have a quote from last week's podcast. I'm not particularly scared of the Broncos defense. They just gave up 400 yards to the Bills. They can't really do much. Okay, sorry. You can continue.
All right, I forgot what I was saying. Obviously, the first 20 or so plays, I knew the Broncos, if they were going to hit, that's when they were going to do it. So usually the first section of plays are scripted by the offense. So
yes,
pretty much the head coach, in this case, the OC, and in this case, Stidham, they all get plays together that work well. They practice them, and they're all comfortable with. So those pretty much hit. They got up quick, and then obviously chose not to kick a field goal, which is crazy. And then Stidham just played like a backup quarterback the rest of the game and he had the Herbert fumble, which I like saying because it's exactly what Herbert did that game. And
It is not what Herbert did.
The
then
Herbert
Drake
fumble.
May,
That's
forward.
what I've
That
heard it
ball
as.
went backwards.
Here we go.
Drake May got the anytime touchdown I called.
Yeah, I
And
don't even know how you got that. That's ridiculous. I hate you.
And then once they got the lead, they just played not to lose, which you don't really love. But once the weather came, it is kind of all you can do is just hang on and hope for the best. But I mean, the real MVP of this game was whoever decided to wear white on white, because in that second half, like you can see any Patriot.
Yeah, that was good. And I mean, they always talk about wearing white shoes too, right? So that if your foot goes out of bounds, you can't tell the color differential. I mean, I think there's something to be said about that. It worked out great for him. And honestly, the all white unis are pretty sick anyway.
Yeah,
absolutely. But nobody's seen Drake May since week 17 against the Jets either. But
what actually
I saw him
surprised
win
me
against some great defenses.
Yeah, I mean, he's still winning games. Not pretty.
Lucky
now
to be
we have
the 53rd best
You hear
player
about
on the
Shouldergate?
roster.
Oh no, tell me about Shouldergate.
I've heard about Shouldergate. I also heard Mike Vrabel shut it down.
No, he didn't shut it down. He said all the Patriots players are injured at this point. He said nobody's 100%. He didn't say yes. He didn't say no.
Yes, he said nobody's 100%, and then he said there's no injury that he's aware of.
He didn't say that. I heard it live. So anyways, the Chargers' former training staff is like a Twitter expert, and yeah, he supposedly made up, found the play where Drake May got hurt and hurt his shoulder, and then 2 plays later, he throws that fucking seed to Matt Collins on a flea flicker. That was the best throw of the game, and Billy's former training staff.
The best throw of the game. That was not the best throw of the game
for Drake May.
There you go.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, Sidham's throw was good. Gonzo thought he had safety help, and he didn't. So,
just so we're clear, we're talking about the training staff that accidentally punctured somebody's lung, leading to Herbert.
Yeah, he's like the leading doctor on Twitter right now.
He's also the leading man crush for Bill, I believe.
But now,
yeah, if he doesn't puncture that lung of Tyrod Taylor, then who knows how Justin Herbert takes over that starting job maybe a week later. But
Phil Perry, Patriot press guy, he said recently or today that Drake May's been battling like a throwing shoulder injury for the past few games, which kind of explains he did not throw good at all this game. Everything was in the dirt, which really surprised me. I don't know if it's not his shoulder, if it's the cold that's bugging him, if it's a wet ball that's bugging him, or if it's just something else. But this game, he just did not look right.
Or I've heard if you take a little bit of air out of the balls, it makes it a little bit easier to throw.
Yeah, but did you see that thing Tom Brady said about if you he was demonstrating with the ball, and it was he was going over throwing motions, and he was if the ball's like this, it gets more air time, especially in wind. Obviously, it was windy, so maybe it's just a throwing mechanic thing, but. I mean, what he did do, he just resorted to using his legs. I mean, he rushed for 6 first downs. So, I mean, that's impressive. He did extend drives, and they just played with the clock.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things definitely that we have to touch on is that backwards pass where the referees didn't blow, or they blew a whistle and called the play dead, which is, we talked about it in our group chat as it's happening. As a referee, when those plays happen, you don't blow a whistle. You let the play go to its entirety, even if it's on the 1 yard line and the defense runs it 99 yards the other way for a score. You call that a touchdown, and then you review the play. I mean, that's refereeing 101. We all know that. So the fact that they called the whistle to blow it dead, and then after the Patriots scooped it up and scored a touchdown, then they go back and review it, and they're like, was it forward? Was it backward? Oh, no, it was definitely backwards. That's a fumble. It was a recovery. Good job. Now you have to score the touchdown, even though you already did it. There's not
but
enough
ball don't lie there, right?
Sure, yes, they ended up scoring on the drive, which is fine. But if they didn't,
Drake May put together his 12-yard touchdown drive, the best touchdown drive anyone's ever seen. The 12-yard touchdown drive from Drake May.
Either way, it ended up in the end zone. But the reality of it is, these refs need to be. I don't know if it's fined or if they have to go to some remedial training. But there's not enough being made about that gaffe that they had. That was. Inexcusable.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you said, it's refereeing 101. If you ever have a play that you know one result will be an automatic review, then you just let it play out in the way that you know you'll have an automatic review. So you let it be a fumble recovery, you let it be a touchdown, and then it's an automatic review because it's both a turnover and a scoring play. So you just let that happen, and then if you need to correct based on review, then you correct based on review. There is some question still. I've watched the replay like 20 times. Did the ball go forward and then get tipped backwards? In which case, maybe it is truly an incomplete pass. I know that's what Stidham says he thinks happened.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's still one of those. I
Boneheaded
loved when
plays.
Herbert did it, Mr. Herbert fumble, because I think Herbert did it the right way. It is one of those where just take the sack.
Absolutely. Go down with it. I mean, live to fight another day, and either take the sack or throw the ball away. He had 15 chances to throw the ball away and didn't even do that. So yeah, I agree. You take the sack and you move on.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
pretty
especially when
surprised
you're
about-
playing against this Patriots offense that like you can't give them 12 yards because that's the only way they can score. So you
Yeah.
absolutely just
Oh
need
my
to take the
God.
sack in that
Well-
scenario and be able to punt it.
You played into their
That did.
strength, which is their defense.
12-yard drives.
Here we
Yeah,
go.
but I was pretty surprised about how well the Patriots defensive line got after it. After the game, the boys were yelling in the tunnel, like, all pro this, all pro that. Like, these guys ain't nothing. Because, yeah, they're supposed to be the best line in the league. They have all pros everywhere. And Milton Williams and the rest of the boys took over that game. I mean,
Yeah.
RJ Harvey didn't do much. I thought he'd actually have a decent game, but he didn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, especially behind that offensive line, and yeah, they were rolling out McLaughlin for random pass plays and stuff like that. But yeah, RJ just definitely didn't have the burst that you expected him to have. I mean, he's only a rookie, but still, the flashes that he's shown in the regular season after J.K. Dobbins went down was enough to make you think that he was going to be at least a little bit of a problem, and certainly wasn't.
Yeah,
And-
your defense is legit. Your defense is absolutely legit. Just two more stats before we go to the Rams at Seahawks. So for those who didn't see, that is the least passing yards for any championship game winning quarterback, as well as the least points ever scored by a team to reach the Super Bowl in the history of the NFL. So I Drake May, again, his last sighting is week 17 against the Jets. I'd love to see him come up. And then David, just to finish it off, I do have that quote from Vrabel. When asked if May hurt his shoulder, Vrabel said, "I wouldn't say anyone hurt anything." So there you go.
Yeah, that's the vaguest thing I've ever heard.
Straight from the horse's mouth.
Well, coach said it. It's got to be true. Rams at Seahawks.
We go from the worst game I've ever seen in my life to what was a thriller. This was a heck of a game. Unfortunately, I think the defining moment in my eyes is that muffed punt return that he just fell over backwards. Literally looked like the lights were too bright for him. And I think they were figuratively at least, and also literally. But this game was just, like I said last week, so fun to watch.
Yeah, this was definitely a good one. You have two all-pro receivers, I was going to say, on the same team when you have Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua and what they're able to do. But, I mean, obviously, JSN on the other side. Devontae made his presence known. He caught a touchdown, as he does. But really,
2
it was the
yards.
Puka. Yeah, exactly.
Another one.
It was the Puka and the JSN show. And even still, it was just so fun to watch. Both of those guys are insane. I was kind of looking up their stats during the regular season too. I knew that they were good, but the discrepancy or the disparity between them and the rest of the league is pretty funny. So JSN finished with 1,793 yards and Puka finished with 1,715 yards.
Holy smokes.
Nobody finished with 1,600 yards. Nobody finished with 1,500 yards. The next highest is George Pickens at 1,429.
Future Charger.
So, yeah, the discrepancy there is just so hilarious to see. Like, these two guys were far and away the best receivers in the league, and you got to see it, the same exact thing in this game. I mean, that was insane. And obviously, you got to have quarterbacks that can put the ball. It's great if you get open, but if you can't get the ball to you, it doesn't mean anything. So watching these guys ball out, watching the quarterbacks ball out, it was a hell of a game.
Yeah, one thing you didn't see a whole lot of was defense. I was very disappointed in both teams' defense. I thought Seahawks had a good defense, but apparently they're a little overrated. And the Rams' defense is awful. I heard a stat today, and it's in their last 9 games, they gave up touchdowns on 40% of drives.
Wow. Yeah, you can't do that.
That's not winning football.
Crazy. Yeah.
So it's like you kind of have Devontae Adams is a good pickup and he's a fun toy to play with on offense, but you gave him $44 million. You think you should have got like Emilio Williams or somebody that can play some defense on that team?
Yeah, and I mean during the regular season they hung on and they were a tough defense, but it's just been nowhere to be seen lately. I mean, I don't really know what happened there, if schematically they're just getting beat or if something's changed, but I agree it was a little disappointing on both sides what we saw up until now versus what we actually got.
Yeah, and I'm happy Cooper Kupp made some impact plays because I'm a big Kupp guy. He was supposed to be a Patriot, but he declined, so that's unfortunate. He joins that list with DK and a couple other guys, but the Rams told him to retire, so I'm glad he got the last laugh and made some impactful plays.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think, again, this was just such a fun game to watch. You bring up the defenses. I think this was just 2 really high-powered offenses. Sam Darnold impressed me. He showed up the best he has in a big game. You brought up the 2-yard touchdown pass to Devontae Adams. Like, he didn't catch a 40-something yard bomb to set that up, and like that quarterback didn't throw for 288 more yards than your MVP candidate did in the same day.
How many yards you run for?
Okay, you want to talk total yards? Like, come on. Who cares?
You like throwing up stats. Like, I'll throw up a stat that wins. I don't care.
There you go. I mean,
how many touchdowns did you run for?
Hold on. Let me look this up real quick. I want to see how many yards that Justin Herbert ran for this weekend. That's
very funny. Very funny.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, this game was fun to watch. We can also talk about the points that were left on the board again, whether or not the Rams should have kicked a field goal to go down by 1. Let's play this out. Essentially, if they do that, they go down by 1. Yes, their defense still makes a stop, but Seattle's not. They're not just running the ball because they have to push the ball forward and get first downs because the Rams would have a chance to score again. So they can't just play super conservative. But at the same time, they're going to be willing to settle for a field goal because, again, that'll put them up by 4 again, and the Rams would have to score a touchdown. So they likely would have ran the ball a little bit to get rid of some clock, try and get in field goal range, and then the outcome is either they miss a field goal or they make the field goal, but they're still settling for that. They're not going to be taking that many shots at the end zone in that position. So you play that out and that happens. I have to imagine the Rams get the ball back with more time on the clock and a better opportunity to then either score a field goal or score a touchdown. So leaving points on the board there was an absolute killer, as we talked about in our group chat. I mean, you just can't be doing that.
Yeah, it takes a lot of pressure off as well.
What's also a killer on that same possession, so not taking the points, but before they didn't take the points, Stafford threw across the middle to Colby Parkinson, and he would have had a walk-in touchdown, and it was just a bad drop. So going from the hero that he was against the Panthers with that toe-tap touchdown to win it to, unfortunately, the season-losing drop when you factor everything else in. So between that muff punt and that Colby Parkinson drop, that's just 2 really bad bounces that didn't go the Rams' way.
Definitely. Little thing to bring up too while I'm thinking about it. So as I was looking up those 2 stats for JSN and Puka, I found one other thing that's not really related, but I want to bring it up because I found it to be hilarious. We talk about different guys and how they get their stats, and some guys are possession guys, some guys are deep ball guys. JSN and Puka were both kind of everything guys, right? They were able to play they can get open deep, they can play in the middle of the field, they can take their short catches, and they can also run the ball. one outlier that I found researching that is just insane. So A.J. Brown, for reference, finished the year with 78 catches for 1,003 yards, which is a pretty normal stat line. You expect more for A.J. Brown, but for a regular wide receiver, 78 catches, 1,003 yards. Alec Pierce on the Colts. This is where Billy goes, who? But if you know, you know, especially in fantasy circles. Alec Pierce also finished with 1,003 yards on 47 catches. You want to talk about a deep threat? That's one of the funniest things. Yeah, right. Phillip Rivers doesn't matter. Danny Dimes, whoever it was, didn't matter. I came across that stat and I'm like, I can't think of somebody like that's insane. 1,003 yards on 47 catches. I just thought that was a funny little thing.
That's hilarious. It's interesting, and especially you talk about quarterbacks who can't throw the ball downfield. It's Jalen Hurts, right? That's
true.
One of the things that he's had extreme trouble with, and especially with a receiver as talented as A.J. Brown. That's an interesting stat. Speaking of interesting stats, I will correct since David wanted to bring up rushing yards. So instead of the 288 more Matt Stafford did, I'll correct that to 239 more total yards.
But Billy, did Sam Darnold actually outplay Matt Stafford?
I don't know. I think you could probably, again, you take that Colby Parkinson drop. I think that's huge, and that's not necessarily something you hang your head on Matt Stafford for. I think they actually both played very similarly, and like I said earlier, I think this was Sam Darnold's first real coming out party in a big game, and not necessarily that way, although Sam Darnold, if you swing that way, that's cool. I will just say it this way. There are 53 players on a football team. Wins are not a quarterback stat. And the next person who comes to me and goes, yeah, well, Drake May did enough to win. No, he didn't. He just got lucky that he's on that team. Matthew Stafford did enough to win that game. And the other 52 men on his team let him down. Drake May did not do enough to win that game. And the other 52 men on that team carried him.
Who used to have that as a gig on
that.
TV, like the luckiest of all time, and it was Brady because it was pretty much these games too. And yeah, it's not about winning and you should have lost if it was this and this and this. I don't know. I think if you put any of these teams in Denver, they probably don't score many points either because that was a snowball.
That's absolutely baloney. Matthew Stafford plays way better against that Broncos team than Drake May did on Sunday in Denver. I don't care. I'm not saying it's the same numbers, but he plays way better, puts up better numbers. This just proves to me what I was saying on episode 1 when we talked about the MVP race. And I said, is it most valuable? And if it's most valuable, then let's talk about if you switch the teams. If you put Drake May on this Rams team, this game wasn't as close as it was. It wasn't entertaining. It wasn't 31-27. It was 31-2. If you put Matthew Stafford on the Patriots, they are absolutely winning that game. And it didn't come down to a tipped field goal by Will Lutz. It didn't come down to another missed field goal by Will Lutz that would have pushed into overtime against Jarrett Stidham.
He said after the game, it was so snowy, I didn't get my proper steps, and I didn't count the yardage. That's why it got blocked.
Yeah, the Patriots gave Will Lutz the extra L that he needed on his name.
No, but that is actually true. They were lined up a yard closer to the line of scrimmage than they were supposed to be, which is just hilarious.
Hey, good coaching, trickles down.
Yeah,
that's true.
Oh, I completely agree with that. But again, that's more point for me talking about Drake May didn't do enough to win. That sentence should never be said. There are 53 teams. There's 53 players on a team. There's 3 phases of the game. It doesn't work like that. It isn't. Drake May had that great run to ice the game for sure. Great stiff arm.
Also, I got a note on that.
It was a beautiful moment. However,
did you know? Did you know that he called that himself? It was just an outside run, and he was the only one that knew he was going to pull it and take that off.
You love to see it. That's some.
You kind of do, your best player just taking over the game like that. I mean, I'm sure.
Did you say best player?
McDaniels hated it. Well, most talent. It's your quarterback. Your quarterback's usually your best player. It's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. So I was going to save this for the off season, but David knows that morning Monday morning, I sent a text to the group chat saying, imagine if New England actually had a quarterback. They're not going to do this, straight up. I know they're not going to. But New England should consider going after, I don't know, a Kirk Cousins, seeing if they can get him for a trade. They should absolutely. I think Daniel Jones is a free agent as long as his Achilles is healthy. Like, look at a Daniel Jones. If they upgrade the quarterback play, they are a much better team.
That's the wildest thing I've ever heard. They're 14-3.
They're 14-3 on a quarterback. Exactly. It's his second year, Bill. If I could mute you, I would. Oh my God, here we go.
It's the McDaniels system, first year.
That's wrong.
That's why
if you wanted to argue bringing in a veteran quarterback to maybe give him some tips and whatever, but even then, no shot. You're wrong. That's dumb.
I said they won't do it. I know they won't do it.
They got done.
I said the dumbest thing they could do. Yeah,
I said they should.
The same way that the Vikings should get rid of Sam Darnold after he got them 14 wins and brought them to the playoffs. Yeah, let's get rid of that guy. Now they have 9, and they're not sniffing the playoffs. Meanwhile, Sam Darnold's going to the Super Bowl.
Come back to me in like 5 years when Drake May is going the way of Mac Jones.
Oh, my God. I can't wait. I'll come back to you 5 years when Justin Herbert's on another team.
The Patriots failed Mac Jones more than Mac Jones failed the Patriots.
That's a good take.
He went like 4-1 on the 49ers.
Yeah, and he was lighting it up in Jacksonville. Yeah, they're not going to make that mistake again. This is their quarterback of the future, and he's only going to get better.
I can't wait till you guys are wrong. Last week, we had 2 games, Patriots at Broncos, Rams at Seahawks. In those picks, David and JMO went 2-0, picking both the Patriots and the Seahawks.
That's what we do.
Grok went 1-1. He picked the Patriots, but he also picked the Rams. And I went 0-2. So on the postseason so far, Jeremiah is in first at a record of 10-2. David is in second
inevitable
at a record of 7-5. Grok in third at 6-6, and I am 5-7.
Good for you.
Next, we're going to go
down by a robot.
Hey, sometimes it happens. It is the new age. Next, we are going into the PPP segment, picks, props, and parlays, because what else does an all-male podcast need if not more PPs? As a reminder, we are using the DraftKings Sportsbook odds, and each host, as well as our good friend Artificial Intelligence, had 5 units to bet. At least 1 unit needs to be on a parlay of 3 legs or more. The remaining 4 units may be spread as each host sees fit. And we track each host's performance throughout the week, so you can bet with or fade each of our bets as you see fit. As always, please bet responsibly. We will not be introducing any new picks this week. We are going to save our Super Bowl picks for next week. Let some lines flesh out, see if Drake May's shoulder is actually hurt. Spoiler alert, it's not. But
well, hey, if anybody wants some action, I'm sure we can bet on the over-under on how many inches of snow we're going to get this weekend coming up.
Yeah, another 24, please. However, we will be going over last week's results. So last week in first place, up just about a unit. So as a reminder to everybody, we use unit because it's easily relatable to everybody. So I will talk as if a unit is $10 for this week, just to help make it relatable. So if you had 5 units to come into bet, you were coming in with $50. And Jeremiah in first place up about a unit, meaning you would have started with $50 and you would have ended with $59.40, or just about $60.
You're welcome.
In second place is David. So if you started out with the same 5 units or $50, you would have ended the week at $38.20, down about $11 or a little over a unit.
You're welcome.
In third place is yours truly. So if you started out with $50 for 5 units, you'd be down about 3 units, down to $19.50, about $30. And in last is Grok. If you started with 5 units, aka $50, you would have wound up down to $18.90, down a little bit more than myself, just over $30.
Yikes.
That's juicy.
Listen, an all-male podcast would be nothing if we did not have fart noises. You're welcome, everybody.
And now recapping where we are after the 3 weeks, we have Jeremiah in first. I believe you've gone positive all 3 weeks. Is that correct?
That is correct. Ladies and gentlemen, I am en fuego.
So if you bet all of Jeremiah's bets, starting with $10 a unit, which would have been $150, you would be ending conference championship weekend at $193.90, up about $44.
Let's go, baby.
In second place, so David joins me in getting beat by a robot, is Grok. So if you started with $150 or $10 a unit for 15 units, you would be at $97.80, down about $52.
Ooh.
In third place is David. If you started with $10 a unit or $150, you'd be down to about $78 at this point. And in last place is yours truly. If you started with $10 a unit or $50 or $150 total, you would be at $63.20. And hopefully that wasn't your kids' college fund.
Couldn't be me.
So thank you.
Big oof.
Thank you. Please consider that in the future when choosing to either tail or bet with or fade and bet against any of our bets as you see fit. I am already excited, looking forward to the Super Bowl bets that we'll see next week. I wonder if anyone, maybe I'll ask Grok to do some of those weird props that are only available for the Super Bowl.
You talk about the over-under
like
on the national anthem?
National anthem, yeah.
Heads or
Or
tails
the
on the coin flip.
Gatorade color.
Yeah.
Like anything like that. Maybe I'll make sure Grok throws in at least one of those. I already have my bets planned, but those are always fun to see. And now we're taking calls from you. So remember, please, no speakerphone and talk loudly, as this is the first time we're taking calls and it seems like everything's coming in quiet. So first up tonight, we have Adam G, and he wants to talk crap to Billy about stats.
Here we go.
What's up, fellas?
Hey, what's going on, Adam?
How you doing?
Doing great, except for that championship fantasy Super Bowl month today.
Ooh, yeah, tough to be there, bud. Love you.
Love you too, bud.
What do you got for us?
So let's see. So let's go over some things. So obviously we know the Patriots historic run against 3 top 5 defenses, despite the turnovers. Now, does anyone know where the offensive line for these teams ranked? Do you guys have those stats available?
I imagine the offensive lines were pretty solid. Am I wrong there?
I think the Broncos was number 1.
I believe the Broncos was
number 1.
Hmm.
So the Broncos are number 1. And we see the pressure the Patriots were able to put on, although it wasn't much till the snow, but they still got a decent amount of pressure. Now, Seattle's offensive line is ranked much lower. Their offensive stats are ranked much lower. So, Billy, I've got to call them frauds still.
Listen, you started off your call talking about the top defenses that the Patriots have played, and let me tell you, the Patriots have made each one of those teams look like the 2000 Ravens. Like, they've made them look like the top teams. I hate playing the if you take away stats, but if you take away Yak and a trick play against the Broncos, Drake May threw for 29 yards against the Broncos. So I do still think they're frauds. I absolutely still think they're frauds. If they beat the Seahawks, I don't know. You're going to have to wait until next week because I have some pretty loud things to say about things that I'll do if the Patriots beat the Seahawks. But absolutely, they've had a cupcake run, but the cupcake run ends now. I will take them seriously if they win the Super Bowl and beat the Seahawks.
All right, I'll give you that because I think there's going to be a very tough matchup for them. Although looking at stats offensively, the Patriots actually rank higher after the regular season in almost every offensive category than the Seahawks.
The NFL is what have you done for me lately, league, and the Patriots offense outside of the Texans game, where yes, they scored 3 touchdowns against the Texans. No one's done that. Well, they had 47 possessions against the Texans because C.J. Stroud looked like a Patriots informant, turning the ball over 5 times. They have looked awful. I don't care about the regular season stats when the Patriots were playing against the Jets and the Dolphins every other week. I care about the postseason. Again, what have you done for me lately? It's been insane. But thank you for the call, Adam. We're gonna move on to the next call. Really appreciate you being the initial caller, the first caller to the Context Matters podcast.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
Thank you, fellas, too. Keep up the great work.
Thank you. And next we have Christy from Milford here to talk to me about my apparent affliction. I believe that's supposed to be.
Yes, it is. It's an affliction. I'm just saying that I think somebody needs to have Billy checked out because he is obviously suffering from PDS, which is different from EDS. PDS being Patriots Derangement Syndrome.
Ah, that's good. You stole that from me. I was going to give him Drake May derangement syndrome.
You get him, Christy.
Yeah.
So I will say I think Drake May derangement syndrome might fit a little bit better. I as someone posted on our wall once, I actually had a Willie McGinnis jersey when I was little. I grew up a Patriots fan when I was indoctrinated before I learned how to think for myself. Decided to follow a different team.
Before you were led astray by...
Yeah. Yes, thank you. The Patriots were my second favorite team. We can talk all we want about second favorite teams. They were my second favorite team. I like watching the NFL. It's widely known I don't like watching college because I like watching people who are the best in the world do what they do. I don't.
Why are you a Chargers fan?
Hey, it's the NFL, buddy. And I think I loved watching Tom Brady. Tom Brady is the greatest football player of all time. Not even quarterback, greatest football player of all time. So when people call me a Patriots hater, I'm not really a Patriots hater. I don't believe in Drake May. I don't believe in this offense. And they are proving me right. I think they've been absolutely fortunate to have the schedule that they've had to date. And yeah, I think he's really showing his true colors in this playoff run.
I think that Christy is correct. I think that you're suffering from some kind of affliction in which you can never see the greatness that's in front of you. And it's sad. I hope that you get the help that you need.
Thank you, Daniel.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Christy. Thanks for calling. Thank you for being the second caller ever to the Context Matters podcast. We really appreciate you.
Well, so far I've been able to learn that Bill is, in fact, able to count to 2, which is more than I thought of him before we started this episode. So that is fantastic.
Well, and here you go. I'll give you another one. This is number 3, Rachel, who wants to talk to me about my Patriots comparison.
Ooh.
So those were 2 separate comments. First of all, long-time listener, first-time caller, boys.
Good to have you in here, Rachel. Thank you.
I'm going to talk about Billy because, for the love of God, I'm going to buy him a clown nose for his birthday because the boy cannot stop clowning about his Chargers predictions. I got them going to the Super Bowl next year. It's ridiculous. And I haven't seen a man as hyped up for a professional athlete ever, and I watched all of Heated Rivalry, so that's saying something.
Wow.
Billy, I hate the Chargers. Ranting and rating that you do at Jeremiah, if we've ever been friends, we just get some sort of clown sound.
Oh, I can certainly make sure that I have that ready.
I think that would be enjoyable.
So,
I have to say, wonderful what your guys' thoughts were on comparing this Patriots team to the 2001 Patriots.
Comparing this Patriots team to the 2001 Patriots. I will hand that off to you, Dave. I think that's more of a place where you're an expert.
I think it's pretty similar. Drake May and Tom Brady, their numbers are pretty close as far as the basic yards and obviously winning all the games, playing tough defenses, and also having a new regime. Belichick came in. The defense was loaded at that time with a bunch of unknown names. Same with this team. Vrabel came in, got his guys. Nobody knows who Milton Williams is. Nobody knows who Barmore is. Nobody knows who Kayson is. So I can see a lot of similarities between this and the 2001 team.
I agree, especially when you talk about the running backs that are available to them at this point in time. Obviously you had some fun players on that Patriots team. It was really just Antoine Smith that was getting the job done there. He was averaging, or he was getting about, I want to say it was like 1,200 yards in the regular season, but I remember he had at least double-digit touchdowns. Just a guy who didn't necessarily wow you, but he was able to keep the chains moving. They have the same thing in Ramondre, except this time they have a better weapon and Travion Henderson behind him. So I definitely can understand the comparisons between the teams there. I think that both of them are pretty balanced, but they're winning the game on defense, and I can see the same thing happening again.
Yeah, that was my exact point too about a bad defense and an offense that does just what it needs to do to get the job done. It's reminding me a lot of football games. Not saying that during his time, I think there's plenty of time that he has to prove himself. But anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about. Have a good night, everyone.
Thanks.
Great point. Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel, for calling in. So I'll talk for a brief bit on the clown nose and talking about Justin Herbert. So I don't bring up Justin Herbert often unless it's relevant, but everybody else around me loves to bring up Justin Herbert.
It's almost like you and Frank May.
Yes, I'll get on my soapbox and I will talk about Justin Herbert when I'm given the opportunity. So yes, the Chargers are winning the 2026-2027 Super Bowl. I 1000% believe that. We'll get into the coaching carousel a little bit after we when we get into the regular episode, when we get back to our hot topics. But Mike McDaniel is the offensive coordinator. I couldn't be more excited as a Chargers fan.
You should be excited. That's a great hire.
Yeah.
It is a good hire.
Thank you.
You are extremely bipolar.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, he does have an affliction. Caller Christie reminded us of that.
I was going to say that his life as a Chargers fan is...
Well, yesterday, they had no weapons, no O-line, no this, no that, and then only the OC change. And it's like, yep, winning the Super Bowl.
We're winning the Super Bowl, boys.
To be fair to me.
To be fair.
The offensive line has not been a question when going into the next season. Because we are getting
power station next to the practice field in LA.
You better hope not.
Because we're getting 2 all-pro level tackles back. And then, yes, we still don't have weapons. I'm still worried about that. I've shared with both of you the image of my 3 steps I need for the Chargers to win the Super Bowl. Step 1 was an offensive coordinator worth a crap. We got that. Step 2 was a true number 1. I'd love to see us get Pickens. I've seen us linked to Deebo Samuel. I'd like that too.
And then you could have
Step 3 was some interior line greatness. And I think Tyler Linderbaum, we have a lot of cap space left. So I think going out and chasing him will be it. Okay. But we have another caller. So I will remind the callers, please talk loudly just because of the system we're using. It's coming in a little bit quiet and no speakerphone preferably. So up next on the Context Matters podcast, we have Bert who wants to talk about the Bill Belichick Hall of Fame induction.
All right.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's going on, Bert?
ESPN's reporting that Bill Belichick not getting into the Hall of Fame on the first ballot. I am definitely in the minority, but I agree with this. I would love to hear you guys' opinion on this. I think this guy is but without Tom Brady, this guy is a sub 500 coach, accused multiple times of cheating. I would love to hear you guys' opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna take this one right off the bat. I disagree. I think that he needs to be in there, and for a multitude of reasons. But yes, a lot of his success had to do with Tom Brady. However, we have to keep in mind that he was both the coach and the GM. And although they struggled getting offensive weapons in the draft, they've always done well on the defensive side. And he was the one who orchestrated putting those players on the field on the offensive and defensive side and making sure that they all, that the old Patriots saying, just do your job. He made sure that everybody was doing their job. And in a team sport, you got 11 people on both sides of the ball. He was the one who got them there. He was the one who coached them. He made sure that every facet of the game was good, even special teams, which a lot of coaches seem to forget about now. He was able to orchestrate the whole thing and get them all to work together. Yes, he had phenomenal talent and Tom Brady that was able to cover up a lot of faults that the teams had. However, he was a part of that run too. And we've seen in the NFL what bad coaches can do. Bad coaches can make good teams bad. And Bill didn't do that. He was able to take what he had and ride it out. And they just kept winning and winning and winning, regardless of circumstance, for one of the longest dynasties we've ever seen. So I can't imagine a world where he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. I think it's disgusting. David?
Yeah, I'm on the same page as you. Like, every time I think he's not, it is absurd to kind of think he's not. 6 Super Bowls, 2 as a coordinator, I'm pretty sure. So he definitely has like the credentials to back it up. And like you said, the GM, he did make Brady at the end of the day, because like what we say about Josh Allen, like he needs coaching, and Brady, nobody got coached harder than Brady did under Belichick.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, this baffles me that Belichick isn't a first ballot. If Belichick's not a first ballot, then no other coach deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, period. I mean, he's the winningest coach in history in terms of winning percentage. He's the winningest coach in terms of total Super Bowls, I believe, too. And it's just, it's a travesty. It's, again, I don't know if anyone deserves to be in the Hall of Fame as a coach if Bill Belichick isn't the person who deserves to be in the Hall of Fame as a coach. I have been reached out to by Bert about Bill Belichick being overrated before all of this dropped, and he actually had Bill Belichick, I believe, 3rd on his list of Patriots all-time coaches behind Vrabel and Parcells, and that was wild to me. And he credited Parcells for the defensive strength that Bill Belichick, quote unquote, inherited. So I know he's got some interesting takes when it comes to Bill Belichick.
To be honest, if we're talking about the greatest coaches of all time for the Patriots, number 1 is Dante Scarnecchia, and I will not hear anything else on the matter.
Okay, so welcome Zachary Layton. He's here to talk about coaches refusing to take field goals and take the points, and people complaining about the weather during games. Zach, floor is yours.
Hold on, gentlemen.
Hey, how's it going, Zach?
I'm doing spectacular. Just watching the playoffs and seeing how many coaches seem to just refuse to take 3 points when it's right in front of you. And then games magically come down to 3 points. Happened in the past game, and the one that really confused me was the end of the Rams and the Seahawks, where the Rams decided to go for it on 4th down, being down 4, instead of kicking a field goal to now go down 1 and then only needing a field goal. I mean, either way, you need to stop the Seahawks offense, but that's refusing to kick field goals and taking points when you can get them just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know when they got me to grown up watching football, and seems like the right thing to do to take 3 points when you can. Most of the time, obviously, when the game's on the line, the last drive of the game, you gotta win. But seems like this idea that 3 points isn't going to do it, when it certainly would have been helpful in multiple games. I don't know why they're not taking it.
Yeah, so I completely agree with you. And David, I'll push it over to you. And Zach, I know you also wanted to talk about weather. We can talk about the refusing to take field goals, and then we'll hand it back over to you. Specifically in the Broncos game, that one baffles me. We'll talk about it more when we do the actual game recap. But not taking those 3 points when you have Jarrett Stidham, and I'm assuming they have the weather forecast on the sideline, so they know that the second half is going to turn into a blizzard. That was wild.
The other thing about that too is they called a timeout, so they couldn't even get the play in and the personnel in to get that play off in time. So then you call a timeout, and then you just give the defense all the leverage at that point too.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. I mean, they certainly needed to take the points there, and like you said, somebody on the sideline is getting paid to check the weather and figure out what's going to be happening and when it's going to be happening. You know, it doesn't take much to read a little Doppler radar that you can get on your phone in 2 seconds. So the fact that they knew that was coming, their offense was already stalling out because they had Jarrett Stidham. The refusal to take the points there was an absolute killer, and it could have changed the entire game. I agree. You know, analytics are all fine and dandy, but there's a human perspective here that they're clearly missing, and multiple teams are missing, and it's costing them games.
Yeah, and I totally agree with Zach on the Rams game too, because we're in our group chat when we were watching it, and I was like, you have to take the points. Like, it makes no sense to go for it on 4th and goal, and then obviously if you don't get it, you got to stop them and then score a touchdown when you can just kick a field goal, save that extra time, and then hey, you got to stop them again. But it's easier to get like 60 yards, 70 yards and kick another field goal instead of having to drive the field and score a touchdown where you couldn't even do it before. It's like the Dan Campbell effect is like rubbing off onto all these other teams where it's just super analytical and it just isn't winning games. Like the Lions can't win big games and everyone's following their lead.
Yeah, I don't know. As I said last week, I think you have to take everything into account, how your offense is doing, what momentum is going on in the game. There's a lot more than that because, like I said, if you take a field goal twice versus going
but
for the
that's
touchdown,
considering
getting it
if
half
it's
the time.
4th and goal. These guys are going for it on that was like the 13-yard line. So then you have to actually score a touchdown. Like if
Right. No,
every
that's
4th
fair.
down was a touchdown, then yeah, you might be kind of onto something. But prior in that game, they went for it as well on that same drive on 4th down. That's when Matt Stafford did that run and he kind of juked a guy and like barely made the first down. That was with like 8 minutes left. Like they could have kicked a field goal then and then had plenty of time to stop the Seahawks and then go for it. But like to kill the momentum and like you said, it's human emotions. It's a big deal to get stuffed on 4th down.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think that's the one thing analytics kind of loses sight of is that like there's momentum. I mean, the three of us have all played football at some level, and it's like you know when your team is kind of like ready for the next game or ready for the next practice when you've taken that loss already, and that's a big momentum shift. So I totally get that. But Zach, you also wanted to talk about all the conversation around weather during games and shifting games to the bowl to domes. I saw the Kurt Warner, but so what's your 2 cents on that?
Yeah, if the Kurt Warner thing was basically what I had, it's just like for a guy that I respect in Kurt Warner, a dude who won a Super Bowl and as a quarterback for an NFL team, one of the probably the hardest positions, in sports to play. That's the weakest, lamest take to say every team should play in a dome. The one thing, like growing up watching football, the one thing we loved about football is that it doesn't matter if it's raining, doesn't matter if it's snowing, doesn't matter if it's windy, if it's freezing, if it's such. Sometimes you can't throw the ball. Sometimes, that's all you're gonna do. But the games where, you put a line up your 11 guys against their best 11 guys, and it's just let's see who can figure this out and who can do better. The weather plays such a big part, and the idea of putting everybody, it destroys football. And anybody who watches that Broncos game and goes, "This is lame, this is not fun," to me, is not a football fan. They're a fantasy player or they're betting money, and that's what it is. And I can't stand that crap. Like give me a good football. I don't want it every time. And nobody wants that every time. But the fact that it can happen is what makes football the best game there is to watch. And
Yeah, I completely agree there, and that's
saved by Kurt Warner ever.
I completely agree there. That's my wife doesn't like watching football really, but every time there's a weather game, she goes, "They're not calling it off," and I say, "No, they don't call off football for almost anything other than lightning." So I think it definitely adds another dimension. Even being a fan of a team that plays in sunny Los Angeles, formerly sunny San Diego, I completely agree. It's part of what makes football football. The cold weather games, the inclement weather games. I think it's absolutely just a factor that people have to have. Now, the one part where I'll completely disagree with you is you were essentially stating that was a fun game to watch. That was a horrible game to watch before the snow even got there. But that's
Well,
besides
you know what,
the
though?
point. So
the point being, though, like we've been treated to so many fun games in the snow. Like obviously the Patriots Raiders game, right? We had the Snow Bowl 5 or 6 years ago now, where it was the Bills and the Indianapolis Colts. Like those games are so fun to watch. And I will say, from a fantasy football perspective, I want every game played in a dome. I want the best conditions possible so that the players that I drafted on my fantasy football team can perform. But realistically, as a fan of football, yeah, if you want to watch that, go watch arena football. The reality of it is seeing how these teams play in the weather. Like you said, it's not just the players and them finding a way to win. It's the coaching battles and the decisions made because of the weather. And, it's just fun. It's like you said, not every time, but it doesn't happen every time. It happens the perfect amount. Every season has the perfect amount of inclement weather games where you just get to see those fun, special, unforgettable moments. So yeah, I'm here for it. Half the teams have a dome, whatever. Every Super Bowl playing in a dome, sure, you could make that argument, I guess. But, for the most part, I want to see these weather games. They're special.
Yeah, I'm on
David
board
is
with
the
all you
one
guys.
quarterback of the group. What's your take?
Good point.
I like it. I mean, it's the whole reason like we play football. It's outside. It's a great game outside. It's too easy indoors. Like it just simplifies it too much. You take a lot of the elements obviously out. Like when an indoor team goes out, like the Patriots always had the advantage because they had home field advantage. That's why they won Super Bowls, and that's why they were in so many Super Bowls. Because these dome teams, they didn't know what cleats to wear. It changes just a lot of minute things that you don't even think about.
Right.
And then like another advantage would be like a modern advantage would be Miami's new stadium. And that's not even like a cold weather thing. That's a hot weather thing. Like the visitor sideline is facing in the sun and it gets like up to 150 degrees. Is that what it says?
Yeah, it's quite a bit inside that area.
So,
and yeah, right.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think it's
playing
mile
the
high.
advantages. Yeah.
Mile
well,
high
exactly.
too,
What
right?
you're gonna start making them close that up and pressurize the inside of the stadium so that it meets the same atmospheric pressure as the other guys. Like, no, that's part of the home field advantage. Deal with it.
Yeah. And then the new Bill Stadium's doing the
Absolutely.
same thing where it's blocking wind from one direction
And allowing
on the
it in
home
other,
side.
right.
Yeah. So that way you know which way to like kick and throw,
Yeah, I love it. You want to get over, like, you know what? Get better. You want to win, get better.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. I think that'll do it for us here, taking calls from you. Thank you to everyone who called in. Thank you, Adam, Christy, Rachel, Bert, and Zach. It was great to hear from you guys, and we'll be doing this again soon for sure.
Yeah, thanks everybody. That was good.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
And Jeremiah, let's take it into your first hot topic.
Ooh, hot topic. Yeah, so we're going to talk about awards and whether or not they mean anything. And the first one that we're going to talk about here is the Pro Bowl. A lot of people will say that it means something because it's in a lot of these players' contracts, right? You make the Pro Bowl, you get an extra $250,000, blah, blah, blah. And these are the best of the best players, typically, except for the ones that are playing in the Super Bowl. They'll often be on the roster, but they'll have to decline. However, every once in a while, you get something fun. A couple years ago, we had, who was it? Snoop Huntley. He got in somehow, some way. Everybody kind of laughed about that coming in. This year, we have Pro Bowler Shedeur Sanders. Can anybody make this make sense? We're talking about a guy who threw for 1,400 yards, had a completion percentage of 56.6%, threw 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and had a total QBR of 74.1. Hot topic, maybe don't do that. Unless every other quarterback in the AFC declined going to the Pro Bowl, there is no world in which this man should be here. I mean, honestly, I would be willing to throw Jawan Jennings in as a quarterback just based on I know he's NFC, but just based on the one throw he made to Christian McCaffrey, I've seen enough. Put him in over Shedeur Sanders. What are we doing here, boys?
He's over on catches for you, but he can be a Pro Bowl quarterback.
I would think so. Good Lord.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane. Shadur getting in it's disgusting. You took my line away when you said that every AFC quarterback better have said no. And I hope there's a statistician out there or the NFL official stats out there take Pro Bowl into account by who is actually selected first rather than who winds up getting it after 3 quarterbacks get hurt in the playoffs and then the other 9 already had a better vacation planned and they say no.
Yeah, that
Because
could be true.
if Shadur Sanders gets his first Pro Bowl this way and maybe only Pro Bowl, I don't know, he might wind up being fine. This isn't like anti-Shadur Sanders. This is anti-Shadur Sanders in
This
the
year.
2025 season being a Pro Bowler.
Yes,
If
sir.
he gets his first and or only Pro Bowl this way, it's absolutely disgusting either way. If you had to take one quarterback who defined a team for the season, so there are only 32 quarterbacks available, I might pick Geno Smith and Justin Fields under him. Geno Smith, shout out, who he left the Seahawks and now they're going to the Super Bowl and then went to the Raiders and now they are picking first overall. So maybe
most influential quarterback of our time.
So maybe Geno Smith deserves to be under him and Justin Fields too. But other than those two, like I can't think of anyone less deserving than Shadur Sanders in the 2025 football season.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, he is legendary. You can't forget that. It really makes you wonder, like, how many of these guys are actually hurt. Because, I mean, you go through the list, there are a lot of hurt popular quarterbacks right now. And then it makes you wonder how many of these guys just don't want to play flag football. Because, I mean, the Pro Bowl is an absolute dud right now. So,
yeah, nobody's watching that game. And, you know, I thought it was going to be fun when they first talked about it. I'm like, oh, yeah, you know, playing flag football, whatever. It's a game that we all love to play. I'm like, with the talent that we see, like, that could be fun. And it's not. It's really not.
Yeah, they don't do it well either. It's just glorified two-hand touch.
Yeah, exactly. Pass.
Okay, so my
David, what
hot
topic do you have?
I'm just going to keep it consistent with the coaching carousel. So today, the breaking news is the Bills hiring Joe Brady, their offensive coordinator, as the head coach. Yeah, not a big fan of this. It's just kind of more of the same. The problem with Josh Allen is he's too inconsistent as far as turnovers. He's erratic. He needs like a presence that can calm him down and keep him in the right state of mind. And I don't think Joe Brady's that guy, or else he'd be doing it already. And then you get questions about the defense. He's just an offensive guy. So yeah, I don't like that Bills hire at all.
Well, and the saddest part about all of this is that means that Phillip Rivers had to withdraw from the Buffalo head coaching job. So I guess we're not going to get
the first time in his career.
But it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder: did a lot of people not want that job, especially after the GM getting promoted to? I think he's like the vice president now,
Mr.
And then the owner trashing the former head coach and then trashing a current player in a press conference recently.
Yeah, that whole thing is a dumpster fire right now. And I mean, to be honest, yeah, like there are definitely some red flags going on with that organization. I think it's no secret that Mr. Bean got a promotion in his job just so that they can get somebody else to do the job he's failed to do for so many years. But you bring up a good point. I think, like, yeah, obviously Josh Allen's a shiny toy that you get to play with, but there's a lot of things organizationally incompetent with the Bills right now. And so I agree that's not necessarily the best job out there, although it looks good on paper.
Yeah, I think I saw something from Bills Twitter, and it was, nobody likes this. Even the most optimistic Bills fan in the world doesn't like this. And it's just exactly what you're saying. If this could work with Josh Allen, it would have worked already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Another head coach, sorry to cut you off, that
you're good.
Got hired was that I might be alone on this, was Mike McCarthy to the Steelers. It kind of brings alone. Yeah, but like my problem with Tomlin was, I think he's a good like overseer coach, but he doesn't bring anything specialized to the table anymore. Like a lot of these head coaches, they have one thing they specialize in and they kind of take it over. he's supposed to be like this defensive guru, and their defense is awful. Their offense has always been awful. Their offense has been awful since Big Ben has been there, and then he had all the weapons. That's the only way they had success. So you're bringing in a coach that is actually great on offense. He can score points. Yeah, they need a quarterback, but if you can design an offense around somebody he finds, I think at least one side of the ball will look better than the other. You know, and they haven't had that in a while.
I agree. And honestly, as much as I don't like Mike McCarthy, he definitely had a special run with the Cowboys. That offense was firing on all cylinders when he was working for them. And I definitely think that he has that ability in him to put together a potent offense again, especially, you know, I have a feeling, I don't know for sure, but I have a feeling Mike McCarthy is going to throw the ball to DK more than 3.5 times a game, which is just ludicrous that we saw. Yeah, exactly. Not just slants, which we saw, obviously through. I mean, there's no reason that DK can't be used in the same role as CeeDee Lamb. I'm not saying he's as good as CeeDee Lamb, but he can certainly be used in that role. So I think Mike McCarthy is familiar with being able to put that together. I definitely, I don't love the hire, but I can see a world that it works. To go over a couple other coaching things that happened, one of the funniest things is when we ended last podcast, Mike McDaniel was going to be the offensive coordinator for the Chargers. And when we start this podcast, Mike McDaniel will be the offensive coordinator for the Chargers. But in between, there was a little bit of gray area there when he started looking at Buffalo.
Bill was scared.
Yeah, I think Bill was a little scared there for a minute, but
hang on. That's going to be my hot topic, so we'll get to it in a second. But I want to comment on the Mike McCarthy thing real quick. So I was snowblowing last night, and I was listening to Pardon My Take, and I was so mad because they referenced this tweet. There was a viral tweet, and I wanted to reference it on here. I'm still going to. And I'm actually going to make Context Matters podcast history by being the second person to swear on this podcast. Because David's the only one who's done it so far. But there was a quote, tweet. I think it was from Bartolo's Colonoscopy, which is a great reference to Bartolo Colon. And it said, going from Mike Tomlin to Mike McCarthy is like having diarrhea in your pants and changing your shirt. So that's exactly how I feel about that hire.
Yeah, definitely a funny one. I mean, yeah, around the league too. Like we've obviously, we're gonna get stuff pretty much every week now for a couple months. It feels like, but Ravens hire Jesse Minter, the former Chargers defensive coordinator, as a head coach.
Boo.
Lions get Drew Petzing from the Cardinals. He's going to be stepping in as the offensive coordinator. The Packers got Jonathan Gannon from the Cardinals, stepping in as defensive coordinator. Chiefs rehire Eric Bieniemy as offensive coordinator. I do like that one a lot. You know, he knows the system, and I think that he can get things back on track there, because there for a while when the Chiefs were having their success, he was being considered as a head coach. So I think that could be really good. And then the Titans hiring Robert Saleh as the head coach and Brian Dable as the offensive coordinator, which hire whatever. Honestly, at this point, you should hire David Blaine, because you're going to need a magician to fix that team.
A lot more just for men.
Yeah,
dude, if you're like 6 years old and you're a head coach, you shouldn't be like dyeing your beard. Have you seen the Dayball pictures? And then even Saleh does it. It's so funny.
Yeah, that's definitely a choice. I mean,
like,
be comfortable in your own skin, right? Yeah.
Yeah, nothing will ever be worse than the Jaylen Brown situation from earlier in the season.
Yes, the only thing I can think of worse than that is Rex Ryan's veneers. Those distract me every time I see that man talk. It's the funniest thing I've ever. Like, you can pick the shade of white that you change your teeth to. So
it's like Stafford's kind of like that too.
Yeah, Stafford looks like that too. Like, they're just like, oh, here's some natural colors for people your age or whatever to make it look more normal. And then they hold up a piece of printer paper and they're like, this is what I want.
Perfect white. So I'm going to introduce a little mini segment as my hot topic this week. And my hot topic mini segment is going to be called Keep That Same Energy. So Jeremiah, I cut you off a little bit earlier because yes, when we ended last week's podcast, Mike McDaniel was announced as likely taking the job to be the offensive coordinator with the Chargers. It wasn't made official. It was kind of awkward in this murky state for a little while.
Yep.
And then it turned out he had a head coaching interview
Yes.
with the Bills. And then it was also in contention that maybe he was still holding on for the Raiders. For the record, it turns out that he actually canceled both of those interviews and never actually held them because he wanted to be the offensive coordinator for the Chargers and not the head coach for the Bills or the Raiders. And when all that murkiness was going on, and I might have shared a noose in my desire to jump off a bridge to you guys if Mike McDaniel didn't wind up coming to the Chargers, because my Ouija circle to get Greg Roman fired and then a good offensive coordinator in looked like it was finally going to work, and then maybe that it wasn't going to work. And when that happened, you guys tried to tell me that him interviewing to potentially be the head coach of the Bills instead of the offensive coordinator of the Chargers meant that he naturally thought that Josh Allen was a better quarterback than Justin Herbert. Now, I will go out on a limb here and say that I think 90% of people in the NFL or NFL watchers, NFL fans think Josh Allen is better than Herbert. I'm not one of them, but I'm saying that's not a wild take. But I said, not necessarily. That's a head coaching job, not an offensive coordinator job. He would be stupid not to try and get a head coaching job when he could get an offensive coordinator job. And you two gaslit me the entire time saying, no, that means he thinks Josh Allen is better than Justin Herbert repeatedly. So on this new little mini segment called Keep That Same Energy, him canceling a head coaching interview with the Bills to be the offensive coordinator for the Chargers. Does that mean he necessarily thinks that Justin Herbert is a better quarterback than Josh Allen? Thank you. I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah, so obviously what happened here is it's pretty clear to me. I'm sure it's clear to everybody else listening. Clearly, Mike McDaniel got secondhand concussion from all the times that he was hanging out with Tua. There's something wrong in his head. Unfortunately, I didn't know that you could transfer over your concussion symptoms, but apparently you can, because anybody in their right mind should be taking. I don't care how murky we just talked about that situation, how murky that situation is. You need to be taking a head coaching job that gives you the best quarterback in the league over an offensive coordinator job. So I think that, like I said, I think that he got some secondhand concussion syndrome. Maybe he was hitting his vape a little too hard and clicked accept on the wrong offer. But that's on him. I don't think that was the right call. But David, I'll get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if that press conference scared him, if the pressure scares him, because whatever coach went to Buffalo, if you don't succeed, you are getting canned, because expectations are high. Like you said, you got Josh Allen, the best quarterback in the league probably right now, if Mahomes isn't healthy, because I'm still kind of Mahomes is number one guy, but
Mahomes isn't the best quarterback in his division.
The Chargers also isn't super sexy. So I get you have Herbert. His thing was he wanted an elite, talented quarterback. Because, he's been dealing with Tua turning water into wine. But the problem with the Chargers is they don't spend money on talented offensive players. They love spending money on defense, but, Billy knows best. Their best weapon right now is 40-year-old Keenan Allen.
Well, and the other thing, too,
they do need to spend money on the offense. Absolutely. Jeremiah, I'll let you go.
Yeah, no, they definitely do. But the irony in all this is, and I hope, friend to friend, Bill, I hope this doesn't happen to you, but I think it will. The irony in all of this is if the Chargers come out next year and have a phenomenal year, they win 12, 13, 14 games, they're able to stay healthy, they make a deep run, McDaniel will immediately be considered for other vacancies for head coaching jobs, and he's going to be leaving your team. So whatever you get out of him this year, I hope it's a Super Bowl for you, because if it's not, and they play very well, he's going to be bye-bye, and we're going to do this all over again.
And
absolutely, I totally expect that.
Omarion Hampton, he should be almost your first-round pick, because Mike McDaniel knows how to run the ball. Achane and all those guys in the Dolphins, they all got a lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns. So,
yeah. Speaking of fantasy, I was a little worried when you brought up Keep That Same Energy, because I thought for sure we were going to talk about something that I brought to you guys in confidence in my fantasy dynasty league, where I traded Jaden Daniel, or I traded away Justin Herbert to get Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, he just broke
which-
himself afterwards.
Yeah, then he broke. I mean, and then not to mention Justin Herbert with this newfound offensive coordinator is starting to look a lot better. So I will not be keeping that same energy. I'm going to be scared. I'm going to be scared the entire time that I made the wrong call there.
Jaden Daniels is the modern RG3. It's sad.
Don't
but it's
you
true.
dare. You know what? We'll talk about fantasy another time. I just hope that works out, but it looks a lot worse now.
I will end this segment with I am so excited for Mike McDaniel. I was telling you guys this today, as soon as DraftKings posts the futures MVP odds for next season, I will be betting on a parlay of Justin Herbert as the regular season MVP and Chargers winning the Super Bowl. And as long as those odds are juicy enough, I will be parlaying those.
Nobody's ever done
I'm going to
both.
parlay those.
Yeah, no one's ever done it.
Well, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
You want to win the Super Bowl, don't go MVP. If you want to win MVP, you're not winning the Super Bowl. Just how it goes.
Point.
Just science.
Hey, David.
Hey, Bill.
My favorite line, correlation does not equal causation.
My favorite line, eye test.
My favorite line.
Okay, so that'll do it for our hot topics. J-Mo, what do you have for anything else?
Oh, anything else? Let's see. Well, I think I'm going to go with something a little lighthearted. I want to talk about this because I think it's important. It's near and dear to my heart. People who don't like dogs. I understand that some people have allergies, but they make pills for that. If you don't like dogs, I don't trust you as a person. And I think that that's like a universal law across the world. Everybody knows that. Everybody understands that dogs are the best thing to happen to this planet, to our civilization, us as humans. Dogs are the all-time GOAT. I will tell you, I have a beautiful wife. I have 2 amazing children, and I have a Bernese Mountain Dog. And if you think for a second that Bernese Mountain Dog is not number 1 most favorite person in my household, you are sorely mistaken.
Yeah, I get second that.
When they talk about
Trudy.
unconditional love, I mean, I'll tell you what, my wife loves me conditionally. There are times where she definitely loves me a little less, but it doesn't matter what I do. When I walk in that door, my dog is so excited to see me. So if you're one of those people, you're like, yeah, I'm just not really a dog person. No, you're just not a person. You're a terrible human being. There's something functionally wrong in your brain. And, honestly, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. You don't deserve to be on this planet with dogs.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, autism's a spectrum. I am somewhere on that spectrum. And if you invite me to a party, I don't want to go. And if I have to go and there's a dog there, I will spend more time with the dog than I will with any person in the party. So you are absolutely 100% correct.
Yeah. And I have a little dog, and yeah, he sleeps with me. He's always on my lap. He's the greatest little thing that's probably happened to me. Sorry, Tyler.
What about your kid?
Yeah, that's true. He's pretty cool too.
Yeah, but not as cool as the dog.
But you know
That's
what I
what
mean.
we're getting at.
But it's like,
Yeah.
He's there all the, like you said, when you come home from work, he's just excited to see you. It's a great
Because
feeling.
they're the best.
Yeah. And people that are scared of him, it's like, come on.
Oh,
Really?
grow up.
I mean, I guess
Grow
if it's like a pit bull that's not trained, I can see it, but
Now, man up. Pet the dog.
general, yeah, dogs are elite.
At the dog, hope you come back with a hand.
Yeah, especially if you're a child.
Well,
All right. So my anything
Okay,
else,
David.
So the other day, I'm just watching my son doing dad stuff, and I was just about to cook him some lunch. So put some pasta in a pot, put some chicken broth in it instead of water, and just for nutrients purposes. And just let it simmer, let it absorb, put some heavy cream in there, some butter, and then sprinkle some cheese in there. And I got mac and cheese. And I was thinking, I was like, that's such a adult me. Like 10, 15 years ago, I'd be cooking Easy Mac or something, So I got a question for you guys. your adulthood, let's say, is there any like kind of new hobbies that you've been interested in?
Well, I mean, if we want to go along the lines of cooking, like I didn't get so deep into it that I'm smoking meats by any means,
Yeah,
but
I'm there.
I have definitely gotten to a
Smoke a
point
different
where
kind of meat, JMO.
oh brother, don't get me started. I like cooking a lot more than I used to, and I like cooking genuinely good meals. I think part of it is just my narcissism because I just want to show everybody else how good I am at it. So that's I should probably talk to somebody about that. But as far as like hobbies go, I genuinely enjoy cooking and learning different techniques for cooking.
Yeah, I like the challenge of like messing something up and then fixing it.
Exactly.
The only
Trying to
problem
improve
that
on
it has
Yep.
is if I go out to a restaurant and it's like I can make something better than what I just ordered.
That's
drives me nuts.
exactly that's exactly what I was going to talk about is over the last couple years Bill actually introduced me to making a steak via sous vide.
Oh,
And
boiling it?
don't get that. That's
It's
going to need a
not
whole nother
boiling
topic.
it.
No, it is by far the best way that I've ever had a steak. It's the way that I make it every time now. Finishing it in a pan, finishing it on the grill, however you want to do it. But it is my favorite way to cook a steak. I'm so happy that Bill turned me onto it. And same thing, I'll go out to a restaurant now and you get a $50 steak and you're like, this is not as good as what I make at home. And it's a little depressing, but at the same time, when somebody hasn't had a steak that way and you get to cook it for them and see the look on their face when they get high quality restaurant steak just at your house. Oh my God, there's nothing better than that.
Best feeling in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll piggyback on both of what you said. You guys know I love to cook. So the other thing, if you come to a party at my house where we don't have a dog yet, so I mentioned that I would rather hang out with dogs than hang out with people. But so when I'm hosting, everyone who's ever been to my house for a party knows I will be in the kitchen cooking the food, manning the food stations, or on the grill, manning the grill. I absolutely love cooking. And David, it's the same exact thing you're saying. And actually, JMO, touching on your narcissism, I like cooking things that are challenging. I like it being a challenge. I want to make things the best that I've ever tasted them. And then once I feel like I perfected that, I actually rarely ever want to make them again, other than steak. Steak.
I could see that.
Steak or sous vide and done the right way there's nothing better.
Now, hypothetically, at these parties that you host, even though you don't like other humans, while you're busy, that's the thing. While you're busy cooking and doing all that, who is manning the blender, making sure that everybody in the room gets one of the best margaritas they've ever had?
Thank you, JMO.
You are welcome, sir.
I think I also called you from the liquor store that day asking what tequila brand to get.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever have a question about tequila,
it's
feel free to reach out to me.
agave. That's all you need.
Yeah, absolutely. If I even see a bottle of Jose Cuervo in your house, I don't care if you got it as a gift. I don't care if you accidentally got it. I don't care what the situation is. I'm breaking that bottle over your skull.
That's aggressive.
I don't care. I said what I said.
I have Jose Cuervo in my house. Come here. Let's run it.
Oh my God. You're going to catch this fade.
Don't got to worry about a dog greeting you at the door, though.
That's a good point.
Soon enough. Okay, so for my anything else, so like we said, this is the show Context Matters, where we bring the group chat to you. Earlier today, we had a little run-in the group chat.
I'm glad you're bringing this up.
Talking about pizza, and David actually was kicked out of the group chat momentarily before I brought him right back in and told him that he is on probation for his take. So I need David to answer for his crimes. So let's talk. I'll set the stage. When you're eating a nice piece of pizza, first of all, don't bring a fork and knife anywhere near me.
Gross. Grow up.
Unfortunately, I do know one of those. I have a brother-in-law who is a fork and knife pizza eater.
Really?
I don't know if he listens, but if you do,
next time I see him, he's getting it.
Stop. You don't even know which brother-in-law.
Oh yeah, true.
But
we could spend a whole episode on your family dynamics.
Yeah. We don't need to talk about my family dynamics. Anyway,
Who?
So when you're taking a nice piece of pizza, for the record, which should always start as cheese. Toppings are great for like an add-on for a party, but like a good piece of cheese pizza, there's nothing better than.
I feel the same
But
way.
you put your middle finger
Here we
on
go.
the right edge of the piece of pizza, underneath the pizza. You put your thumb under the left edge, underneath the piece of pizza, and you put your pointer finger right in the center of that slice on top of the crust, and then you bend it. You bend it so that it's tilted. You almost push your thumb and your middle finger together, and it creates the perfect folded piece of pizza to get that in your mouth and the perfect bite. To which David said,
No, never.
David, I'll let you go here.
Pizza isn't origami. You're not supposed to fold it. The only way if you fold it is if it's like too floppy and there's like no backbone to it. If it doesn't have a spine, you gotta eat the pizza like a normal person.
No, you always fold the pizza, irregardlessly of how it's cooked. I don't care. That is that's the way we're doing it. You are wrong. That is the way to eat a pizza, and
You eat it like a
I've
piece
got
of
no
watermelon.
notes. I would never eat a piece of watermelon.
It just
Watermelon's
ruins the
disgusting.
ratio. It's like bread on bread in a sandwich. I'm not eating a sandwich. I'm eating a piece of pizza.
No.
It's the same bite.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, you're wrong. The only time that I don't fold my pizza is when I'm really being a fat boy and I'm hungry, and I take two pizza pieces and I put them on top of each other.
I've never done that in my life.
Well, you've never been as fat as I am, my friend. I will, if I have to eat quickly in a hurry, I'll sandwich them together and I'll just mow it down that way. But I'm pretty sure even when I do that, I at least attempt the fold, because that's the correct way to eat a pizza.
Absolutely. There's no other way to eat a pizza. You gotta fold it. I think David just
That's
isn't
barbaric.
cultured or hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, it's
No,
gotta be
that's
it.
something you do if you go to Home Depot, you know? Just fold your pizza.
Wow.
Go
Those
through the
guys.
shitty
Oh,
lumber.
Mr.
aisle.
Bougie, Mr.
Oh
Bougie.
my god.
Where do you buy your groceries, David?
Market basket, Demula's.
That's what I want to
RDT.
hear, baby. Let's go.
Okay, you struck me as a Hannaford's guy there, not folding your pizza,
Oh, I'll
going to
strike you.
Lowe's.
Having a little dog, that type.
Yeah, little dog's where it's at.
My
But
little Harley.
folding your pizza though,
Hell
do you
no.
do you
Hell
guys
no.
dip it in anything?
Actually, I can't talk about. I
What do you
I
mean?
wish that you told me. No, I actually can't talk about what I dip it in because everybody's gonna think differently of me.
Is it
And the
mayonnaise?
podcast is gonna get. Yeah, it's mayonnaise.
Yeah, I don't, but I've seen guys do that.
Oh,
I work with a guy. He literally
my
put-
deepest,
I
darkest
think you
secret.
might get kicked out. You guys get kicked out of the
I didn't
group
think this
chat
was
now.
gonna come
That's
up.
disgusting.
Yeah,
I don't know. Feel the same way about pizza as I do.
not dipping in mayonnaise.
No, it's got to be correlation isn't causation or whatever the hell Billy says. We're talking about two different things. Don't worry about that. No, I don't. You know what? I'm gonna double down. The taste of the beautiful fatty mayonnaise mixed with red sauce. There's nothing like it. I support it, but I don't want to talk
Mixed
about
with the
it.
beautiful fatty grease of already fatty pizza. No, here's the truth. Here's the truth. You take good fries or good pizza, they don't need to be dipped in anything.
That's fair.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Oh, and if you put steak
Further
sauce
down
on
the
steak,
scale you
suck.
get, yeah, the further down the scale you get, sure, you can start adding sauce, but like a pizza on a scale of 1 to 100 has to be like a 40 before you start adding any dipping sauce to the.
Yeah. My wife hates it. Whenever
to the
like we
play.
go to like a nice pizza place, I always want to get a cheese. I'm just like, let's just get a cheese, We know what we're getting.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
if you hammer a cheese out like a home run, everything else is gonna be good. But
Oh yeah.
my foreman
that's
like
the right call.
loves a cheese pizza, and he got me hooked because we work wherever in the city, so we always like grab slices on the way home and stuff. It's always
Yep.
cheese, never folded.
Oh, brother, you're doing it wrong.
Hold
You both
it.
are. Yep. This is why you use a foreman and not a general contractor, manager, or however it works.
Hey, we're union, baby.
Yeah, no, I've seen the Snapchats. I see what you union workers do.
We crush it, okay?
Yeah, well, that's your job, literally, is crushing stone, so I would hope so.
Yeah. Touche.
Okay, so that's it for us here on Context Matters. Thanks again to Hyatt Trucks. Check us out on YouTube at Context Does Matter and Spotify and wherever else you can get your podcasts. We are on Apple Podcasts now at the Context Matters Podcast. Also follow along with us on Twitter at Context M Podcast and Facebook at the Context Matters Podcast. We'll be keeping the reactions and discussion going during this week, looking forward to the Pro Bowl. And all year long, we do have some grand plans for the offseason. We do plan on staying a weekly podcast all throughout the off season and into next year to give you fantasy, quarterback, team rankings, everything. We got a whole long list, so trust us, we aren't running out of ideas yet.
We need, baby.
I'm Bill, along with David and JMO. Thanks for joining us, and we will talk to you next week.
Fold your pizzas, kids.
No.